In a dimly lit barracks room at Fort Hood, Texas, Captain Michael Harris sat hunched over a wooden desk. Outside, soldiers were busy packing their gear for yet another deployment to Afghanistan. The sound of boots and muffled voices echoed through the halls. But inside that small room, silence pressed heavy on him. On the desk lay a stack of stationery. He wasn't writing a report, not an operational plan, not a list of orders. He was writing a letter, his final letter, to his children. His hand trembled as he pressed pen to paper. He imagined their faces. His son Jacob, only 10, with his wide, curious eyes. His daughter Lily, 6, who still believed her dad could fix everything. He thought of the countless nights he'd missed tucking them into bed, the soccer games, the school plays, and he knew deep down that he might miss much more. He began softly, "My dear Jacob and Lily, if you're reading this, it means that I couldn't come home to you. I want you to know, first and always, that I loved you with every beat of my heart. The uniform I wear is not bigger than my love for you. Nothing ever could be." Michael paused, his throat tight. His children deserved words that would carry them for a lifetime, words that would guide them when he no longer could. He continued, "Jacob, be strong for your little sister, but remember, strength is not about never crying. It's about standing up even when your knees shake. Lily, my little star, don't ever let the world dim your smile. The world needs your light more than you'll ever know." The paper blurred as his tears fell, leaving small marks that spread the ink. He wiped his face with his sleeve, but he didn't stop writing. He couldn't. As he wrote, memories poured into him. He remembered the day Jacob was born in a small hospital in Dallas, the way his tiny hand wrapped around Michael's finger. He remembered Lily's laughter when she chased fireflies in their backyard one summer night. Those memories kept him alive on past deployments, but they also deepened the ache now. He wondered, would his kids remember him for the man he was, or just for the folded flag handed to them one day? The room grew colder. He lit a small desk lamp and whispered their names as if speaking them into the air could carry his voice across the miles. The next morning, before dawn, the transport plane awaited. His gear was heavy, but not as heavy as the weight inside his chest. He slipped the letter into a sealed envelope marked, "For my children, to be delivered only if necessary." On the flight overseas, Michael clutched his helmet and stared at the dim red cabin lights. He thought of his kids back home just waking up, their mother making pancakes. And here he was, thousands of miles above the ocean, carrying a rifle instead of holding his children. War was waiting, and so was fate. In the mountains of Kandahar, the nights were cruel. Gunfire cracked in the distance, and the wind howled through broken villages. Michael often found himself sitting under a bare sky, whispering prayers. He'd pull out a photo of Jacob and Lily from his vest pocket, tracing their faces with his thumb. To his men, he was their captain, their leader. To his children, he was simply Dad. He wondered if they would ever know the way his heart broke each night, knowing he was risking never seeing them again. Months later, the mission grew dangerous. Roads were lined with hidden explosives, and ambushes were frequent. One night, after a long patrol, Michael sat alone in his tent and rewrote part of his letter. "If you ever doubt yourself, just remember, you are my children. You carry my courage, my hope, my love. You will never walk this life alone, even if you can't see me. I'll be in every sunrise you watch, every laugh you share, every dream you chase." That night, he placed the letter in a small wooden box that he carried everywhere. His men joked it was his treasure chest. They never knew it held his final goodbye. It was supposed to be a routine convoy. But war never plays by routine. The explosion came without warning. Dust, fire, chaos. Michael's men shouted his name as they tried to pull him from the wreckage. He was conscious just long enough to whisper, "Take care of them. Tell my kids I love them." Hours later, back at Fort Hood, the knock came at Anna's door. She collapsed before the officer could even finish the sentence. Weeks later, Jacob and Lily sat on the couch, their mother beside them, holding a trembling envelope. Anna's voice broke as she read, "My dear Jacob and Lily." The children listened in silence. Tears streamed down Jacob's cheeks as he clenched his fists. Lily buried her face in her mother's lap. The words were not just ink on paper. They were their father's voice, reaching across time and death, holding them one last time. Years passed. Jacob grew into a young man, wearing the same courage his father once wore. Lily carried her smile bright and unshaken through every hardship. They kept the letter framed in their home, a reminder that their father's love had never left. Every word guided them, in school, in life, in moments of doubt. For them, he was never just a soldier lost in war. He was a father whose last words became their compass. Not every soldier returns home, but through their final words, their love never dies. A folded flag may rest on a mantle, but the true legacy lives in the hearts of those they leave behind.